If you have missed any of the previous episodes, we are taking this Golf, which you see in the background, and converting it to a proper track monster. We have already done quite some upgrades. We stripped the interior, we replaced the original seats with Recaro bucket seats, we added 4-point harnesses and the roll bar. We visited the KW factory and we saw the manufacturing process of a KW Club Sport coilover, which we also already installed in the car, together with a big brake kit from StopTech and BBS rims and Michelin tires. However, while we were doing the last upgrade, we realized that we have a small problem with the width of the tires. They were sticking out a bit too much, so we had to find a solution for this. And in this box next to me, we have actually the solution. There is a set of over fenders, which we're going to fit in this episode to the car. So we will take you through the whole process of installing this. We will do some cutting, some welding, sealing, and in the end, we will not just have a better performing car, it will also look much cooler. So in the first step, we taped the full sidewall off, including bumper and all the area around the wheel. As we will put the fender flare on, then we will transfer the outside shape to the car. Then we will put the original tire back on, get the suspension completely compressed so that we have the full suspension travel and the wheel as much in as possible to see how much suspension travel we have in the end. And with this, we can actually calculate how much from the sidewall we have to cut out. Because as we saw, this is touching the tire. So we have to remove all this part. Then we will mark it. Then I will do the actual cut of the part that I have to take off. I will separate the outside part. I will leave that metal part standing because then I have actually the sidewall and the wheel are separated. So I have no stability anymore in the sidewall, so it's quite loose. To get this back, I will cut the wheel arch in stripes, bend it around and weld it back to the sidewall to get that structure back. And then it will be as stiff as before. So you can actually touch it and it will not be bent immediately. But first, we tape everything off to don't scratch the paint, because later on we will cut, we will weld, we will grind. For the most people, it looks like that we are building a tuning car to just give it a fat look and have it wider. And of course, nowadays the most cars which are built with wide body kits like Liberty Walk, RWB and cars like this, they are more based in the tuning scene and it's just for the look. There is no actual point behind that. It's just the car looks fat and wide. In our case, we're actually taking a part from the tuning scene and using it again in the motorsport just to cover our wider tire, to create more grip. The beginning of wide bodies and fender flares and stuff like this, they're based in the motorsport. Back in the days, they used this to fit wider tires, to create more grip. The cars in the 80s, they were fitted originally with very narrow tires, so if you want to race it, you have to go quite wide. And there was no space in the wheel arch to fit this tire, so they had to do something to cover the tire, to cover the surface, and also it has to do something with aerodynamics. You can see it quite good here. The fender flare goes complete to the bottom, covers more or less the front of the wheel, and the rear, you have it quite open to have the air coming out, and in the front is the same. It goes complete to the bottom point of the bumper to cover the complete front of the tire and have it open in the back to have the air coming out. From the sidewall, we will take off around 7 centimeters in total. Then we should have enough space for our tire, which was touching before here and sticking out until here. So you have the inner wheel arch and you have the sidewall, which is going down. It's glued here together on this part, and it's folded around, so it actually grips here, but there's no actual welding. The glue is strong enough, but all this glue, we actually cut it away, so there is no hole anymore at all. And if you just go with normal glue, you can see there is a gap of sometimes a centimeter or even 2 centimeters. You can't fill this with glue and expect that it's the same strength than before. But that's the reason why we're actually bending it around and spot welding every single piece back on the sidewall. We have actually everything welded back together. We have already some rust protection on top, and now we will seal everything with the glue that no water can go inside. We will close all the small gaps here. After that, we will put some sealant from the inside for the rust protection, and then we're actually ready to put the fender flares back on. So the hard part is done now. We have actually cut it, welded and sealed the original fender. We put it just now, the fender flare back on, and we have to repeat this process for another 3 corners. As you can see here, we have removed quite some material from the original fender and the original bumper. All these parts came off. You try to remove always as little as possible and as much as needed. We cut it under that original edge here to keep this as strong as possible. As you can see, it's still quite strong, and we cut quite some material off. So it will be even stronger when the fender flare comes back on. We have like a gap of 2 centimeters everywhere. We are sure it will not drop and nothing will touch the tire, which can cause a puncture on track, and this is what we absolutely don't want.